I call this Town of Adams Board of Selectmen meeting to order, Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded. Board of Selectmen meetings are recorded and televised live on Northern Berkshire Community Television, channel 1303. And anyone in the audience who is going to be taping the meeting this evening, please let the chair know it's okay to do so. And we have our Berkshires has indicated that they will be taping this evening's meeting. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Could everyone please stand and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 3, approval of minutes. We have one set this evening from November 6th, 2024. This was a regular meeting, and everyone, I believe, can vote on these minutes. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting on November 6, 2024.
And waive the reading of the minutes?
And waive the reading of the minutes.
We have a motion by Ann. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Unanimous decision. Next is old business. Review and approve intermunicipal agreement, IMA, from the Opioid Abatement Collaborative. Andy, are you in the audience?
I am.
Could you please come up to the microphone, state your name and the organization you're with?
Hi, my name is Andy Addison. I'm from Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, facilitating the Berkshire Overdose and Addiction Prevention Collaborative. We've got a lot of acronyms.
All right, so you reviewed this with the board at the last public meeting, and you were going to send the intermunicipal agreement out to all the other communities?
Correct.
And that entails Northern Berkshire communities?
Correct, yep.
And have you heard anything back, or has any other board approved this?
We have not had any response back, one way or another, to the draft that was previously sent out on November 14th. We'd sent a couple of follow-up emails. So far, we have heard no response, one way or another, of any objections to it. So, on our end, we believe it's ready to go. Again, there may be some future emendations to it, which will come back to you if so. But otherwise, we believe it is ready for the municipalities to sign.
Okay, I'll open up to the board. Any questions since the last time we met with Andy?
Yes, through the chair. I was just wondering, where have these funds come from, like the settlements with Purdue and other pharmaceutical companies that have been pushing, their marketing toward people? So that's where this money has come from?
Mostly correct. There's so far been 7 settlements that have dispersed. Purdue has not settled yet. You may have seen over the summer that the Supreme Court rejected that settlement.
Yeah.
So if and when that settlement does move forward, those would be in addition to the amounts that the municipalities currently have. So the ones that have been settled include Johnson & Johnson, Teva, Walmart, a few others as well. I believe that McKinsey has also settled. I've not heard that officially from the Attorney General's office yet, but assuming that is the case, that would also be an amount in addition to these 7 settlements that we've reported on so far.
Yeah, I guess I'm mistaken. I thought Purdue paid a real hefty fine and that they were kind of off the hook. It was a substantial amount of money, so apparently I'm wrong.
Still a matter of the courts.
Okay.
Again, yeah, since they're no longer solvent, they're not sure how much funds will be left. And again, to my understanding, this is just from what I've read in the Times, that the original settlement had let the family off, given the family
right, the
criminal
family, that's
immunity.
right.
The courts rejected that.
Yeah.
So that will continue to be a matter for the courts. But if and when that is settled, that would be additional funds going to the Commonwealth that would also be going to the municipalities.
Yeah, and I would think that would be the most substantial settlement.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I believe it will be, because they were the ones that were giving these freely in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I had for a question, and thank you for what you're doing.
Great, thank
It's a
you.
big problem, and anything we can do to try to solve it,
Absolutely.
we need to.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, what is the board's pleasure on this?
I'll make a motion to approve the North Berkshire Intermunicipal Agreement regarding use and expenditure of opioid abatement funds and the formation of the Opioid Abatement Collaborative.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Hopefully.
Second by Rick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, unanimous. Thank you, Andy.
Great, thank you all.
Appreciate it. Next on the agenda, we have public comment. Anyone's free to come up to the microphone and ask questions of the board with anything that is on this evening's agenda. Anyone in the audience like to come up? Yes. State your name, please.
Thank you, Haley Meswar, Town Clerk, but I'm wearing the Events Committee hat right now. I just want to remind everybody about the Holiday Home Decorating Contest. So far, we have 15 houses that have registered. You have until Friday, December 6th at 5 o'clock to register. You can register through the town's website. Judging will be next weekend, Friday, December 13th, Saturday the 14th, and Sunday the 15th from 5 to 8. Our panel will be going around one of those days to do the judging, and there will still be a community choice winner. So if you want to make your way around next weekend, and then you can go online, it will be up on the town's website. The map we hope to have finalized by Wednesday, and we'll get that up as soon as we get it. We'll put it up so that everybody can map out their route that they want to take, and they can go ahead and vote over the weekend, and we will announce the winners on Wednesday, December 18th. Happy decorating, and hope you all are safe driving around town next weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address the board? Okay, hearing none. All right, we'll move on to new business. Item 6A, approved draft term sheet and development agreement for Memorial School redevelopment project. Eamon?
Just point of order, 6A is the contract for the interim town administrator.
Oh, do I have the, this is the older, oh, it's on draft.
Sorry,
Sit down, Eamon.
he can come back up.
I have a copy right here. I was reading off the, so this is the one that was posted. All right. Oh, yeah, 6A. Approved contract for Mr. Kenneth Walto, interim town administrator. Want me to take that?
Just that the board is still in negotiations with Mr. Walto, so this is not ready to come before the board at this time.
Okay. We'll table that until, we were looking at a meeting for Monday at 6 o'clock to continue negotiations with Mr. Walto,
I think 5.
or 5, sorry. So we will post that meeting.
Executive session.
All right, so that's it for A. Now, Eamon. B, approved draft term sheet and development agreement for Memorial School redevelopment project.
So we've made a lot of progress over the last few weeks on this draft term sheet. Just as some context, we've been negotiating with Mr. Mackin, who is also here today to answer any questions for the board. The board last discussed this in executive session a few weeks ago. I don't remember the exact date. Not much in the term sheet has changed since that discussion. The basic terms are still the same and have not changed. However, the term sheet has a little bit greater level of detail than it had a few weeks ago. So I believe, we've received comments from KP Law. We sent the revised draft out to Mr. Mackin's attorney. They've provided comments late today. The draft that you have in front of you that's marked December 4th is the version with Mr. Mackin's attorney's comments. They are all, I believe all their comments are very, very minor, and I can walk you through them if we like. But I believe we are ready to finalize and approve this draft document tonight.
So, and before we go through those, can we go over what this term sheet is, the importance of it?
Sure. So this term sheet is really just the first step towards the eventual redevelopment of the building. Again, what's being proposed, the town released an RFP at the end of last year to redevelop the building. We received one proposal from Mr. Mackin, and we've since been negotiating with him on the terms of the redevelopment. Some of the basic proposal for the school is redevelopment of the classroom wing into about 25 units, 25 apartment units, as well as redevelopment of the former cafeteria area into commercial space. I think it's, the town has always had the plan or vision of retaining the administrative wing, gymnasium, and auditorium for community use and to relocate council on aging there. Mr. Mackin has always been very supportive of that idea and that vision that the town has had, and we've been attempting to make that work in this agreement. As a reminder to the board, when we released RFP, we always assumed that the town would be able to condominiumize the building, so the town would own the administrative wing, auditorium, gymnasium, and Mr. Mackin would own the classroom wing as part of the redevelopment. However, Mr. Mackin needs to own the entire building to receive financing, which was a little bit of a hiccup in our plans, but we since then have been working on what's called a leaseback agreement. So Mr. Mackin would own the building, we would lease back the community center portion, and we've been working on that ever since.
So this isn't the final
Yes, and this
lease or
this is not the-
sale agreement?
This term sheet is just that. It's a simple agreement of the most basic terms of the sale to Mr. Mackin for $50,000 and of the lease terms. As a reminder, what we've discussed and with Mr. Mackin in the negotiations is that once the sale of the building is finalized, we'll ramp up over a 3-year period to a lease payment of $50,000 per year. That lease payment of $50,000 can be negotiated down if the town is able to secure grants for the building and for the larger project. Mr. Mackin has generously, to support the community center reuse, or community center vision for the building, he's agreed to construct bathrooms that are needed to move Council on Aging over to this new facility, as well as replace windows and renovate the former music art room adjacent to the auditorium.
Okay, so if you don't mind, can you go through this with us? Because we
Sure.
just received this copy, this final copy. Thanks. It's starting on, section 3.
Sure, starting in section 3, this just talks about the property being subdivided, which was actually approved by the planning board a few weeks ago. So we engaged Hill Engineers. They've split the property into 2 parcels, so the town will retain the Valley Street Field portion of the building, or portion of the property, and we'll be able to transfer the school portion to Mr. Mackin.
So the Little League field, the soccer field, that is still under town control, Valley Street
The
Field?
town will still own Valley Street Field, yes.
All right, and Memorial Park, which is...
Right, and Memorial Park is obviously town ownership and has nothing to do with the redevelopment.
All right.
Also to mention, we've discussed with Mr. Mackin, and he's willing to provide a very long-term lease to the town. The initial term would be 20 years, with 2 10-year options to extend the lease if possible, so potentially 40 years.
So when you mentioned $50,000 a year, the first year is, for 20 years, the first year is 0.
First year is 0, second year
is
would be 25,000, and the third year would ramp up to 50,000.
Right.
And also, we've made those lease payments contingent on the completion, as I mentioned, of those renovation projects in the administrative wing. So there's no payment until the bathrooms and windows, et cetera, are completed.
Right, so he's going to add bathrooms and going to replace windows and also update a room that's near the auditorium for the Council on Aging use, which we talked the other day about with the Council on Aging. The estimated price to do all that work, what is that again?
It's approximately $1 million, potentially more. I think the value estimate we received from our architects for the renovation of the bathrooms was at a minimum of $500,000, potentially more. I think one of the upper quotes we received was over $700,000. And the windows themselves are roughly $1 million.
Okay, so if I know there may be some questions, and especially at town meeting, that why are we paying a lease, but Mr. Mackin's investing a little over $1 million before, he even gets started on his, I'm sure some work, well, it really gets going on his classroom wing. So really, over time, we won't see, figure out the effects of the lease of $50,000. We probably won't see that for over 10, 15 years from now.
Right, I think one of the selling points of this agreement is the fact that there's substantial investment by Mr. Mackin into the
Right.
building. And, I mean, when you think of a $50,000 payment over 20 years, it ends up being $1 million.
Right, and he's going to invest a bit over $1 million right away up front. Anyone else, is that three? All there is for three? There's a little bit more on the next page.
Sure, so Mr. Mackin's attorney's comments are on page 2. There was just an error in leased versus purchaser that we revised there. On page 3, one of the things we've talked about with regards to the redevelopment is use of the commercial space. And, obviously the town prefers that space being used as some sort of restaurant or, maybe a pub or a microbrewery or something to that effect. For that purposes, obviously, an alcohol license would need to be granted. Obviously, we can't make any guarantees that a license would be granted, but we've, as it's written here, they just added some language that we wouldn't oppose the application. Under 6, community space, they just added some more specific language.
So the town, community space, the Council on Aging is going to move there eventually when the windows and the bathrooms are completed.
Yes.
And then it's going to open up also as a community center for the town residents to be able to use the basketball court, right?
Yeah, we've always had a lot, we get inquiries about using the gymnasium and the auditorium quite frequently.
Right.
So this will allow for the reuse by community groups or for us to lease them out.
And what's been holding us up is the completion of the bathrooms, which need to meet the standards.
Yeah, bathrooms-
Standards of today, not back in 50-something. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the bathrooms, there's a limited number, and B, they are not up to modern standards or handicap accessible by any means. And so the bathroom project will support not only the reuse of the building by the Council on Aging, but will also facilitate it or make it easier for us to hold town meeting there, as we do now, but also
Voting.
Elections, and also I will mention this site is the town's emergency shelter location, and so increasing the number of bathrooms there will also facilitate the use as the emergency shelter.
Is there anything else, Eamon? There's only a couple pages left here before.
Yeah, page 4, again, just some minor changes to dates. 4, 5, nothing on 5, nothing on 6. That's about it. Like I said, all the changes are pretty minor.
So just a question here, the community use of this building, releasing it out, we had, with the town's insurance, the $1 million policy would cover anything that happens there from a resident's point of view, or?
Yeah, we will be required to hold our own insurance policy
which
there,
we-
yes.
Which we have,
Yes.
okay. All right, I'll open the questions to the board. Any questions for Raymond?
Also too, before we go, I think I mentioned this, but like I said, this term sheet is not the final step. If the term sheet's approved tonight, we will start to flesh out the development agreement itself. That will basically take these basic terms, add a lot more detail and specificity, as well as outline a number of the steps that Mr. Mackin has to go through prior to the sale of the building. And we'll also need to develop a separate lease agreement and purchase and sale agreement. I think I mentioned too, the sale price of the building is $50,000. Mr. Mackin has already provided a $10,000 non-refundable deposit to the town, and the remaining $40,000 would be provided to the town at the time of closing.
Okay, we're going to be using this as a discussion point for the special town meeting, right, that we do have an agreement signed, hopefully, by the 10th.
Yes.
That's the goal?
Well, the goal is to have this term sheet done by the 10th.
This term sheet, right, not the final.
I don't think we'll be done with the development agreement by
Of
that
course,
time.
but the term sheet.
I'll also mention too, mostly for the public, John and I, as well as Jay Green, met with seniors at the Council on Aging on Monday to discuss basically the status of the redevelopment and some of these basic terms. It was a pretty big crowd. I think there was at least 20 or 30 people there. Folks definitely were concerned, and we addressed all their concerns. There wasn't a lot of negativity about, I think, the terms as presented or about the redevelopment itself. So it seemed to be well received.
Yeah, I agree. There were very good questions, no animosity. People were just curious, had good questions. Okay, open up to the board. Any questions for him? And then we'll bring on Mr. Mackin, introduce him, and board good?
No, I just, go
ahead, John.
ahead, Rick.
I was going to say, my only question, which you brought up kind of, is the emergency shelter. There are no issues with housing an emergency shelter in a privately owned building?
I'm pretty sure it's not infrequent that other communities rent out shelter space.
Okay.
Joe?
Yeah, prior to you were coming downstairs, I had a small talk with Mike, and I think he's a right person for this type of job, but I informed him, and he knows about it, that there's brownfield issues. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, in regards
Yeah.
to asbestos.
Right, we provided Mr. Mackin, back when the town took control of the building, we did what's called a Phase 1 environmental assessment, as well as a hazardous materials survey for the building. Mr. Mackin's been provided with those documents. It's an old building, there's lead paint, there's asbestos, and everyone's aware of those issues. And then I will also mention, the town did receive last year a $500,000 EPA brownfields grant. We will be using that grant to target the building for some more assessment work. Both that Phase 1 and that hazardous materials survey need to be updated because they're over a decade old at this point. So that will help support the redevelopment, and will also position us for any future grant funding to do cleanup there through mass development or mass works or any of those programs.
Okay, good points.
Yeah, that, and
Go ahead.
I'm talking brownfields of pollutants in that area, because way back there was a lot of, they had large tanks that were gas, and they were used to light the lights along the streets when we had gas. And there was a pond there at one time across the street, and it's filled with toxins where our park is. And I know that through an individual who informed me of that, an individual who lived down in that area. And I don't want to mention names, but there was a lot of repercussions to their family members who lived next to it. And also, it was Decker's had their dry cleaning company there, which dry cleaning has an awful lot of toxic chemicals that were used specifically back in the early times for cleaning. And that's why the building at the bottom of Richmond, or on Richmond Street, has never been a reuse, because it would just cost so much to, do the work to get it to be able to be sellable and reopened as a business or anything. So that's something I just want to bring out to the public.
Okay, that's across the street, though, not on the property of the
Well,
school.
there might be some up on the property where it comes down where the parking lot's going to be extended. And I was told by an individual that I'm going to see. He wanted to speak to me, and he has a lot of maps and illustrations of what was there and when it was there. So I'll bring that back to the board.
Okay. Mike, did you want to come up, please? Sure. Join us?
I'll mention too.
Go ahead, Andy.
I'm aware of that, I forget what it was called, the something gas plant.
Yeah.
That was right across the street. There was some level of cleanup that was done, I think, in the late 90s. I don't know how much was actually cleaned up. The site is actually now controlled by National Grid.
That's right.
And actually, as part of that, Weston Sampson, who's our consultant for our EPA brownfields grant, will be looking into that a little bit as more.
Yeah.
Because it is adjacent to the site, but my understanding is there's an AUL, that's an activity and use limitation on the Memorial Park property and some of those other homes that are in the area there, but it doesn't extend onto the Memorial School property.
I'll come back with what I found out. And because brownfields, I don't know, they're toxic, in short.
Okay, and all of us, many of us went to school there for many years, so I would hope that we're okay. All right, we're good for Mr. Mackin, or, yeah, Joe, if you got information, that'd be good. Good. State your name. Michael Mackin. Business for the record. Name your business.
It's under my name, Michael T. Mackin.
There you go.
I'm,
Thank you.
I'll stop there.
Thank you for submitting the RFP response to the town. We're very excited with the plans that you provided to renovate the middle school, which has been vacant for many, many years, and many calls to tear it down, but I'm glad we keep a piece of our history there and the gateway into our community from the north. So you want to just say a few words about yourself and plans?
There's not too much I got to say. I do think that it's going to be a good project. I think it's going to be a good project for me as a developer and also for the town. I think that we've got everybody's best interest in it, and that's why it's going to work to the mutual benefit of all of us.
Anyone from the board have any comments or questions for Mike?
No, I just have a comment and maybe one quick question, but I said this in the last meeting. I came this close to vote for you the first time because I saw a guy come in with work boots on and not a suit coat and a tie, and it made me feel that you're the man, because that's what a working man goes to work with, and not a suit coat and a tie and pretty pictures that we were shown by the person who backed out on us. And I see a lot of communities, and I know that your housing is going to be fair market, but I've seen just recently in communities that we know we have a housing shortage in our area. And this is just a comment. I was very interested to see some of the things they're doing down in South County, building homes for people that need help, that, they just don't give them to them. They're allowed to stay there and, have the feeling of owning a home. People that have had trouble in the past with addictions and that type of thing. And I think we've discussed this. It's sorely needed in Adams, housing for people that need housing, because there's a stigma around that, and there are a lot of people that get themselves in situations that they got themselves in, but on the other hand, there's a lot of people situationally that things happen that put them out in the cold, and particularly those that have families. So that's just something that I think we have to think of here in this community. And we do have vacant buildings that could be used for that, but that's an aside. But
Well, this will take into part of that.
Yeah.
Because, with the 40R
Right.
requirement, 20% of the units have to be set aside for lower incomes and stuff. So it will help a little bit,
Yeah,
and also provide workforce housing.
every
for
little
others.
bit helps.
Yeah.
And this, so people aren't listening and thinking, this isn't gonna be Section 8 housing, right?
No, it
Okay,
is not.
right.
And
I
that
just-
temptation is great. I mean, the incentives out there for low-income housing from the federal government
Right.
are crazy, and it's easy for boards to, I mean, it's very tempting.
Yeah.
You're talking millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars that
Yeah.
the feds will give you for. But the end result is, what do you do with all those individuals when you don't have jobs for them?
Right.
Or anything else? It becomes more of a burden on a community than a help.
Yeah.
So this will give you a balance, this will give you a mix, and I think that'll work out good for the town itself.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. We were unable to allow the local sports basketball leagues to be able to use this building, or anyone really, because of the bathroom issue. And very pleased that that's going to be on the top of your list to take
The
care
sooner
of.
we get a purchase and sale agreement, we're ready, we're shovel ready to go in there
Great.
to start that.
That's
And at the same
fantastic.
time, what we can do is, once we start, we can open up the school wing, the classroom area, and use the bathrooms over there, and hopefully get the gymnasium in use sooner.
And then you're going to replace every window in the building, because I don't think they've been touched
That's correct.
since the 1950s.
We were out here it's today. We were out here Tuesday at 11 o'clock. We did a walkthrough with one of the window suppliers, and they did their measurements and everything. So what we have is, we're looking at a 12-week window from the time the order is placed till the time we get the actual windows on site. So again, time is of the essence. The sooner we get our stuff together, the sooner we can get going, getting things ordered, because the first order of business will be the abatement. That'll get rid of all the old windows, get rid of all the contaminants and things. And then right after that, we get the new windows in there and close the building up.
Great, very exciting for the town of Adams.
Yeah.
And last question, so that means you're gonna keep the same building window sizes within,
That's the plan.
Okay,
But we're
yeah.
also seeking some historic grants.
yeah,
And that's high on their priority list, the exterior integrity of the building. So very similar windows. And I haven't seen the proposal yet, but that's what we started the other day, anyway.
yeah, and I think I said this early on, windows are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Really good ones, and those windows there, I mean, they're just single pane. I think, as Chairman Duval mentioned, I don't think they've ever been, I was the last graduating class there in 1970, and those windows, you could feel the draft when it was cold.
You could
And
still
you were
feel
sitting in
it.
the classroom, that's for sure.
You can
A lot of
still feel
students
it.
had coats on during the winter.
So what we're looking at are triple panes. We're looking at the best that we possibly can. And, cost is also going to be a major consideration. But there are energy grants that we'll probably be seeking also. So it'll benefit everybody
Yeah.
by using the best possible.
And you have a question?
I was at the meeting that we had at the Elderly Center on Monday, and a couple of the people attending were saying that they can smell the mold. And I know that they have done remediation and everything.
Sure.
But that would be something you would still be checking for as you're going through.
Oh, absolutely. Our intentions, especially on the redevelopment side, the classroom side, would be to gut it entirely, all right? You're familiar with the building?
Yes, I graduated before he did.
No way.
Thank you. No,
So-
I was 3 years in the building, because back when I was in school, 9th grade was at our other school down the street, so I only spent 3 years in the building. And, but, I was all over the building, because I was in chorus, and I was in band, and so I know the building very well.
The structural, the way the place is structured will allow us to do major demolition in there. We can go in there and clear everything on the inside and almost start fresh. So what we'll be working with is just a skeleton of the existing building. it makes things a lot easier. And then we can also address those issues such as mold or anything else that's in there.
Well, I just know that if you're doing, already, talking about what you're doing, that you're not gonna just do I don't want to use the word, but.
I got you.
In the section of ours, so you're gonna be thorough no matter what part of the building. you're in.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I believe we're ready to take some action. In your motion, could you please add that any, these minor wording updates will be incorporated as part of the approval, prior to approval? Is that what you want, Eamon? You good? Okay, what is the board's pleasure?
I make a motion the board approves the proposed term sheet for sale of the Memorial School Building with the proposed changes.
Okay, we have a motion by Rick. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Ann. Any further discussion?
I'd like in a motion that it's still a draft and it's not completed in total.
Well, that's what the motion is based on, that it will be completed, I believe. You guys let me know. That the updates are incorporated.
This is just the term sheet. This is
Right.
the final document. We'll have an opportunity to discuss other issues when we get into the lease of the property, the purchase and sale, and then also the other agreements.
Okay.
also.
Okay.
This just gets the ball rolling. pretty
Gets it
much.
going. Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous decision. Thank you, Mike.
Take the rest of the night off.
Good job.
I vote to.
Thank you, Eamon.
Excuse me.
All right, so, next is review and approve public records request policy. At our last meeting, we had the first reading of this policy, which is mostly boilerplate. This is the second and final reading, which will make it a policy for the Board of Selectmen. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the public records request policy as presented.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ann. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just have some comments about this. Why did it take this long to have this as a policy within the select board? It strikes me that it came so quickly, and it was after we made a decision for a new town accountant. And we've made so many appointments prior to that, and I had never seen anything come up about public records. So I'm tepid about it, because I feel as soon as I asked for resumes, I got inundated from you, John, about what goes on. We saw a lawyer, then I got an email from Haley, and then I got a letter in the mail from Haley about it. And, I'm all for the law. And if that's what the law says, that's what I'll follow. But my belief is, and I'm looking into it, if somebody comes and has an interview, they're putting their name out in the public. They're allowing their name to be solicited, to be looked upon, and to be judged. And I'm looking into that. And when I voted, I love Ashley. She's really friendly. But when I saw her resume...
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I don't think that he should be using names in talking about these matters. But you can let it continue.
So, Joe, what this is nothing against what you've done or anyone's done. This is really to identify that the town clerk is the records access officer who will be the one that provides the public information to the, as a result of requests. There's nothing specific in here in regards to anybody's resume or any process like that. This is just to identify that individual. So town council felt that it would be best to document that, because we didn't have it documented in our policy handbook. That's all this is. It's just,
It's more than that, John, in my opinion.
Well, your
And
opinion-
I'm sorry that I have to come to these meetings and fight for the people of Adams. And every time I say something, it's, oh, you're out of order. I don't want this to happen. You can't do this. And I've got emails here, John, that I've asked you numerous times about getting on the agenda. And all it is, well, I need more information. I need this. I need that. And it's tiring for me. I feel that I've been belittled on this board for too long, and I'm going to stick with that. So I'll stop there, because it doesn't matter. I can just continue to talk, because I feel I have the freedom to talk. That's something that's given to me in the Constitution.
you cannot speak.
Okay, all right.
No,
I'll listen. Go, John.
This is the chair speaking,
Okay, yeah.
right? Because, especially since recent months, we've been hit with open meeting law issues, that is why this is happening, Joe. Nothing about you or me or anybody else on this board. That's the law of Massachusetts. You cannot speak unless there's an agenda item to speak to, right?
Well, I've asked you, John, to
Right,
get
so-
things on the agenda,
Right.
and I can read them, but I'm not going to
Chairman,
do
can we
it.
get back to the public records request policy?
All right, so,
You guys are talking about open meeting law, which is different than public records.
right. So, where are we on this? Do we have a motion yet?
If I may, I will also make a statement about the timing of this. Under former town council, back in January, I had met with town council, the town administrator, and we even talked to the town clerk about our public records request policy, which we didn't really have one. We had a practice, and we had a form that was outdated, and we asked the former town council to work on that. It did not get done, and it was one of the items that was listed for KP Law to take up. So the timing of this is actually back to last winter. But we're finally here with a new town council who's reviewing our policies. That's
Okay.
what I figured this was.
Okay, all right, I'll be satisfied with that. But you certainly brought up a good point, that I've been with this. I'm looking at this town where there is no transparency whatsoever.
You got to stick to the agenda, well, you have to be, because it's not on the
Of course I
agenda.
do. It's not on the agenda.
It's part of the
How
law.
about when I ask John for things to get on the
Part of the law.
agenda? They don't get on.
Part
You
of
ask
the
me
law.
all these questions about it.
Let's
And-
move on with the vote, please.
Okay?
All right.
You have a motion and a second.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I vote because that's what the law says.
5 in favor, no abstentions. Thank you. All right, moving on to, we have a assignment of street number for property at map 223, parcel 25, 43 East Orchard Terrace, Adams, Mass. In your packets, we have a request to change the number of the house on East Orchard Terrace.
We've done this times, so I'm gonna make a motion to assign a street number for property at map 223, parcel 25, 43 East Orchard Terrace, Adams, Mass. Assign a street number. I don't know who is going to assign it and what the number's gonna be. It says 43 Orchard Terrace, so has the number been assigned legally?
The memo is asking for us to change the current number from 0 East Orchard Terrace
Okay.
to the proposed number 43 East Orchard Terrace. So your motion would include the new address of 43 East Orchard.
I don't have 0 on mine, on my,
In your memo that was in your
No.
packet?
no.
In your
Oh, in the memo, no.
If there's a
No, I
memo.
just picked I just picked mine up today. I've been very busy. So I just went up and I didn't get a chance to read it and I didn't see the 0. So I'll rescind my motion and I'll have someone else make it.
All right, do we have a motion?
Make a motion the board approve the notice of assignment of a street number for 0 East Orchard Terrace to be changed to 43 East Orchard Terrace.
Motion by Rick, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine, any further discussion?
Yeah, I just wonder how parcels are numbered, Mr. Chairman. Do they go by lot size so that they can fit a certain number of homes by lot size, so that when if it gets up to where the new home is being built, that will always stay 43?
I'm not sure, Joe, you'd have to inquire with the building inspector or the
Okay.
town administrator.
All right, yep, I will do.
Any further discussion?
Just as the memo states from the building commissioner, it is per the Town of Adams Charter and Code of Laws, Section 13-1, numbering of buildings, so there may be information there. That answers your questions, Joe.
Thank you, Vice Chair Hoyt.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous decision. Next, we have review and approve 2025 dog licensing fees. And we have our town clerk with us.
Good evening, Haley Meswar, Town Clerk. I'm here again to talk about dog license time. The fees I'm proposing are the same as the past quite a few years. I don't feel that we need to necessarily go up on them. I think it works just the way it has been. Female is, not spayed is 20, and a male dog not neutered is 20. Female and male spayed and neutered are 10, and then we have multi-dog licenses, boarding fees, late fees, all kinds of other kind of fees. But the majority are female, male, spayed and neutered dogs that we actually typically license. We license anywhere between like 8 to 850 dogs a year. This, if approved tonight, we will get the application all set to be sent out with the January 2025 census. So looking forward to that again. Our annual census every year. So you'll be hearing from me again in January to send back your census. It does work well if we include the application in with the census. It makes it a little easier for our pet owners to license their dogs. Any questions? Oh, I'm asking for your approval then.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 dog licensing fees as presented by the town clerk.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous decision.
Thank you very much.
Next is the annual licensing renewals. Christine, do you have this, or does Bree?
I have Bree's memo, and I can read them off by the type of license. I think what I could do is I can make a motion. So all of the licenses that we do have in front of us have submitted the appropriate paperwork to the Selectmen's office for their license renewals. We do have a number of businesses, due to the timing of when our tax bills went out, we do have a number of our businesses who have not paid their taxes yet. It is something just odd with the calendar, the holiday, the dates, and all of that. So what I'm going to propose is I would like to make a motion for each of the sections. And part of my motion will be that it is contingent upon payment of taxes, but that is the only thing that is outstanding for our businesses. The other kind of general notice that I can give is Bascom Lodge, we usually kind of pull aside, and I might still do that because that one is pending an inspection when they reopen in the spring. I think those are the only, conditions that we have.
May I?
Taxes and then the Bascom Lodge
Yeah,
inspection.
may I just ask about Bascom Lodge? Usually, it's a seasonal license. Is it going to be seasonal?
It is not typically a seasonal license.
It isn't up at there?
It is,
No?
they have a full year license, so it must be approved as such.
Okay,
Yeah, we can't do it until spring because they disassemble the
yeah, right, I
fire
understand.
system and that.
Yeah, yeah. I just climbed Greylock today.
All right, so with that in mind, I'll make a motion to approve the all-alcohol package store licenses for the following businesses contingent upon payment of taxes. First one is Anarchy Liquor, doing business as O'Gary's Package Store at 60 Commercial Street. Manhattan Oasis Liquors, Inc., doing business as Oasis Liquor Store, 35 Spring Street, and Ambinick LLC, doing business as Val's Pipe and Package at 5 Columbia Street. That is my motion.
We have a motion by Christine, we have a second by Ann. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous.
And I apologize now that I'm going to mispronounce many things. I'll make a motion to approve the wine and malt package store licenses contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses: 7-Eleven at 223 Columbia Street, Tri-Petroleum Inc. at 160 Howland Ave, and Adams Hometown Market at 11 Myrtle Street.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Rick, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, any abstentions? Unanimous decision.
I'll make a motion to approve the all-alcohol establishment licenses contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses: Nicholas Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Bounty Fair Restaurant at 200 Howland Ave, AJ's Trailside Pub, located at 12 to 14 Pleasant Street, Forest Park Country Club, located at 41 Forest Park Ave, Adams Turner's, Inc., 6 Turner's Ave, Geberg's Varen, doing business as Mountain Club, 6 Anthony Street, Adams Post Number 160, Inc., the American Legion of Massachusetts, 160 Forest Park Avenue, Pinebrook Pub, LLC, 128 Columbia Street, and Red's Viking Pub, 77 to 83 Commercial Street.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Rick, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous.
I'll make a motion to approve the wine and malt establishments license contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses: Lee's Dynasty Asian Fusion, 131 Columbia Street, and Stacy Varellis, doing business as Pizza House, 26 Hoosick Street.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Rick, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, any abstentions, unanimous decision.
I'll make a motion to approve the wine and malt establishment license contingent upon taxes received as well as an inspection to be held in the spring before they open for Bascom Lodge Group LLC, 1 Summit Road in Adams.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Rick, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, any abstentions, unanimous decision.
I'll make a motion to approve the Sunday entertainment licenses for before 1 p.m. contingent upon the payment of taxes for the following businesses: Adams Turner's, Inc., 6 Turner's Ave, AJ's Trailside Pub, 1214 Pleasant Street, Geberg's Varen, doing business as Mountain Club, 6 Anthony Street, Original Seed, 32 North Summer Street, Red's Viking Pub, 77 to 83 Commercial Street, Adams Post Number 160, Inc., the American Legion of Mass, 160 Forest Park Ave.
I'll second.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision.
I make a motion to approve the Sunday entertainment license for after 1 p.m. contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses: Nicholas Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Bounty Fair at 200 Howland Ave, and Adams Theater, 27 Park Street.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous decision.
Make a motion to approve the Sunday entertainment license for after 1 PM, contingent upon payment of taxes and an inspection before they open, for Bascom Lodge Group LLC, 1 Summit Road.
Second.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimous decision.
Make a motion to approve the weekly entertainment licenses contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses: AJ's Trailside Pub, 12 to 14 Pleasant Street; Adams Theater, 27 Park Street; Adams American Legion, 160 Forest Park Ave; Forest Park Country Club, 41 Forest Park Ave; Red's Viking Pub, 77 to 83 Commercial Street; Adams Turners Inc., 6 Turners Avenue; The Bergs Varon, doing business as Mountain Club, 6 Anthony Street; Nicholas Enterprises, doing business as Bounty Fair at 200 Howland Ave; Original Seed, 32 North Summer Street; and Pinebrook Pub LLC, 128 Columbia Street.
Second.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimous decision.
I'll make a motion to approve the weekly entertainment license contingent upon tax payment received and an inspection before they open, for Bascom Lodge Group LLC, 1 Summit Road in Adams.
Second.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimous decision.
I make a motion to approve the common vic license for contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses: AJ's Trailside Pub, 12 to 14 Pleasant Street; Forest Park Country Club, 41 Forest Park Ave; Red's Viking Pub, 77 to 83 Commercial Street; Adams Turners Inc., 6 Turners Ave; Stacy Varellis, doing business as Pizza House, 26 Hoosick Street; The Bergs Varon, doing business as Mountain Club, 6 Anthony Street; Cheese Chinese Cuisine Incorporated, 13 Columbia Street; Nicholas Enterprises, doing business Bounty Fair, 200 Howland Ave; Adams Post number 160, the American Legion, 160 Forest Park Ave; Lee's Dynasty Asian Fusion, 131 Columbia Street; Angelina's Submarine Shop, 34.5 Columbia Street; Coffee Liberation Front, 1 Park Street; Tri-Petroleum Incorporated, 160 Howland Ave; Original Seed, 32 North Summer Street; Gomez Enterprises, doing business as McDonald's at 2 Commercial Street; Bappa 177 Columbia Street Donuts LLC, doing business as Dunkin' Donuts at 177 Columbia Street; Pinebrook Pub LLC, 128 Columbia Street; Josen Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Domino's Pizza, 80 Summer Street; Polanca Grounds, 22 Mill Street, care of St. John Paul II Parish at 21 Maple; and M&J's Taste of Home at 53 Park Street.
Second.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion?
Yeah, I think the Polanca Pavilion's on Mill Street and not Maple.
The Polanca, it does say Mill Street, but is the parish on Maple, or?
Yeah, the parish is at the bottom of Maple.
Yeah, so it's
There-
care of the
Yeah,
parish,
okay.
but thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimous decision.
Make a motion to approve the common vic license contingent upon payment of taxes and an inspection in the spring for Bascom Lodge Group LLC, 1 Summit Road.
Let's see.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, unanimous decision.
Make a motion to approve the auto sales licenses contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses: Alternative Motors of Adams Incorporated at 69 Columbia Street, Alternative Motors of Adams Incorporated, 74 Columbia Street, Gene Sales and Service at 108 Howland Avenue, Maple Grove Equipment, 8 Leonard Street, McAndrews King Incorporated, nope, not McAndrews King.
Head Ed GMC.
It's Head Ed, sorry. I'm reading from the memo.
It should be appropriate.
Yep, Head Ed GMC, 224 Columbia Street. Ronnie's Cycle Sales and Service Incorporated, 150 Howland Ave. Ronnie Cycle Sales and Service Incorporated, 63 Elger Street. And B&B Micro Manufacturing Incorporated at 201 Howland Avenue.
Second?
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Unanimous decision.
I'll make a motion to approve the inn holders and lodging licenses contingent upon payment of taxes for the following businesses. Baskin Lodge Group LLC, 1 Summit Road. I'm sorry, nope, I'm holding that one. I'm going to make my motion again to approve the inn holders and lodging licenses contingent upon payment of taxes for The Trail at 10 Pleasant Street and Mount Royal Inn at 99 Howland Avenue.
Second?
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimous decision.
And I'll make a motion to approve the inn holders and lodging licenses contingent upon payment of taxes and an inspection in the spring for Baskin Lodge Group LLC, 1 Summit Road.
I'll second.
Motion by Christine, second by Rick. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about Bascom Lodge. That's owned by the state. Are they the people that pay the taxes for, or the leasee who is Dudek? Do they have to pay the taxes? They're not owners of the building. They have a lease with the state, so I'm not sure how that works.
We get a memo from the tax collector's office if the taxes have been paid.
Okay.
So who pays them would be, her office would know.
Okay?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Unanimous decision. Does that cover all the licensing?
That's it?
Yes. And we were notified that the Firehouse Cafe and Bistro would not be renewing any of their licenses. So I wanted to make that note. I also, because we will have to notify the state of that change in our renewals. Also should be noted that the common vic license for the Rainbow Shack will be taken up at a different time, so most likely in March. And the common vic license for Daily Grind will be applied for as a new license in January of 2025, based on the information that they have provided to the town.
Okay. Next is updates on requests for quotes for consultants for town administrator search process. Christine.
Before I go to that, just to follow up on the licensing, I just wanted to thank all of our license holders for coming in and getting all of their paperwork and complying with the deadlines. That did make this a much smoother process with the absence of the timing of tax bills and tax payments. And a thank you to Bree for getting all of those materials in order and getting us a memo, albeit I still had the old one from last Tuesday, but that's okay. But we did get that information well in advance of tonight, so thank you to everyone. That's not an easy task, so. In terms of updates on the request for quotes, I don't have an update tonight. I am behind on all of that. I would like to, if the board is meeting next week, to give you guys that RFQ at that time, but probably have to approve it at the following meeting. which would be December 18th. And my apologies, but life is in the way.
The last item on the agenda is a presentation from prospective cannabis business, Mr. Dan Berger. I'm going to have to step down from this discussion. I work for a defense contractor, works for the federal government, where marijuana is still illegal.
That is unfortunate.
Vice Chair Hart will take over.
Hi.
Hi.
State your name and the business.
Yeah, hi, my name is Dan Berger, and I am here as a sole proprietor tonight, but I am the owner of Grasp Ventures LLC. We are a licensed delivery operator out in the city of Salem, and I do actually live up in North Adams, so don't hold that against me though, but yeah. So yeah, presentation is maybe a little generous today. Maybe it's more of an introduction. Really just wanted to maybe give a face to the name. I was lucky enough to pick Bree's brain the other day when I popped by after actually looking at a property in the town. And yeah, you know, I've done this before where I've actually, you know, opened a cannabis business, and unfortunately, sort of the way that the process works, before you can really even begin the process on the state level, you need a host community agreement from the municipality you hope to operate in. So really, before I, you know, can close on any property, even sign a lease, I've learned a lesson the hard way that I maybe want to know that the municipality I want to operate in is receptive to me coming on board. So I am looking at a couple different license types. Micro business, I will say, is one that I am looking at particularly, especially in Adams. That license would allow for a Tier 1 cultivation license, a production license, an element of retail. You can also get a delivery endorsement from the state. You don't have to cultivate per se, but that is one license type I am looking at. I am also looking at a social consumption license type. Actually tomorrow, I'm going down to Worcester, where the Cannabis Control Commission is going to be sort of laying out their regulatory framework on that. But I've been having discussions with municipalities for a better part of a year now to try to get this going as well. But yeah, I guess this is really just, you know, hopefully the beginning of this process. And yeah, you know, I know nothing gets done overnight, especially in the cannabis industry, but you know, part of the process too, once you get a host community agreement, you schedule a community outreach meeting as well. And then, you know, before you get your commence operations from the state, the Cannabis Control Commission reaches out to the municipality and asks if we're compliant with our local bylaws. So there are a couple of times where, you know, the municipality gets to give their thumbs up that we're doing everything right. But yeah, I just signed the model host community agreement template from the Cannabis Control Commission with the city of Salem a couple of weeks ago. That doesn't explicitly ask for an address per se. So, you know, that is one avenue where I know for me, if I could get a host community agreement from the town of Adams, I'd be adamant to get some property under contract sooner than later. But that's hopefully the short version, and I'm here to answer any questions as well. But I know it's been a long night already, and it's snowing now, so I'm sure we all want to get home. But hopefully, yeah, maybe, you know, this is the first of many. But short version again, hopefully as well.
Dan, just to clarify, so you have a host community agreement with the city of Salem already. Do you have any others in the state?
Yeah, I actually have one with the city of North Adams for a courier license, and that's actually attached to a property I'm leasing from the city itself. So actually a property up at the Windsor Mill up in North Adams, and we've been working on that for a while. And actually a week from last Monday, so on the 9th, the city of North Adams has a general government meeting where they're going to be discussing their local cannabis bylaws as well. They're one of the municipalities. I've been banging on that door for a little while now. But yeah, that's basically it though right now. And yeah, next phase for me has always been North Berkshire County one way or another, and looking to maybe expand beyond delivery a bit. So this micro business license is a great avenue to that. The state just expanded actually the regulations on that, where there were actually restrictions where you couldn't hold other licenses and hold a micro business license. But micro business was the original business plan I actually wrote up, so I'm really, yeah, eager to maybe get one of those going.
And does and shame on me for not knowing, but does the Cannabis Commission still limit how many host community agreements you can have? Or is it just the number of licenses that you are given by the state that I guess I'm asking for some clarification, sorry, Dan.
No problem, and I'll try to do my best to address that. And just imagine me, right, as a sole proprietor, right? So I am allowed to hold 3 of each license type now. So take delivery, for instance, it actually was 2 as of a month and a half ago, but part of these regulatory changes, they looked at a couple different of these caps on licenses per individual, delivery being one of them, micro business as well. But yeah, essentially you can hold 3 of each license type, so cultivation, production, delivery, social consumption once that rolls out, and that's sort of the way that works. And that's per entity as well, so say my business Grass Ventures LLC, delivery, we can only hold 3 delivery license per that entity.
Got it. So North Adams, your host community agreement is for courier license only,
Yes,
and then Salem, is it for the micro business, a courier, and possibly social consumption?
so this is where it gets confusing for sure. In Salem, we hold a host community agreement for a courier license as well.
Yeah.
Our delivery operator license which is our operational license right now. That's number MD1262 on the state level. And then we are also approved for a marijuana transporter license, which allows for business-to-business deliveries. So that's more fulfilling, I can go pick up a grow, a crop from a grow, deliver that to a dispensary with that license. But as of now, this would be my first license expanding into cultivation and production. But I will just say a bit of my background before Grass Ventures LLC. I was with Theory Wellness, who they're down in South County. I was with them when we sold over $40 million of cannabis in 2019 alone. And they are a vertically integrated medical dispensary. So they have all facets of cultivation and all that fun stuff. But so yeah, very well versed in the regulated cannabis space in Massachusetts. Too well versed, some would say.
Does Massachusetts allow consumption on site yet?
Yes, so this is part of this batch of regulatory changes that came out from Chapter 180, where the one thing really holding up consumption license on the state level, it was in Mass General Law, where essentially you couldn't have on-site consumption where it's an actual business per se, like where you have employees. They finally cleared that up now, and actually tomorrow, like I said, I'm going down to Worcester, where they're laying out that the regulatory framework, where it's been over a year as well. There's a social consumption working group who they've done public listening sessions, sort of just trying to gauge that, and tomorrow we'll finally see that framework rolled out. But yeah, we're finally at a point where there are no holdups on the state level, and we're gonna get that license, and I am more than eager to apply for it, in case you can't tell.
Other questions?
I'd just like to say that the Cannabis Control Commission has certainly been in disarray. Ever since it's formed, it's had different people overseeing it, and now I believe there's a lawsuit going on with Shannon O'Brien, who was head of it, and she felt that she was kind of driven out. But the point I'm getting at is that with all of this kind of stuff going on, it's not like DoorDash. You're regulated to the hill, aren't you, when you deliver? And what the parameters are when you're delivering. You can't just, go into the shop and pick up a bag and, drive down the street a mile and, hey, here's your weed, give me the money.
No.
I mean, there's a lot into it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's a little more complicated than that. And actually, we were, the only product in Massachusetts that required more security was uranium, and that was as of a couple weeks ago too, where part of these regulatory changes were, we actually had to have 2 drivers per vehicle to make any delivery. But yeah, our vehicles are GPS tracked, we have cameras in the front and back, our drivers wear body cameras, right? And the same level of security goes for really every facet of the cannabis supply chain. So, from growers to my delivery license out in Salem to, potential social consumption establishment. We're going to be carding people as they come in the door. We're going to be, we have to have very robust HVAC requirements. There are still odor control regulations, the whole 9, right? So, really, we are going to be like any other business, but I will tell you, we are one of the most regulated in the state as well. I don't necessarily want to comment on the Cannabis Control Commission, but I will say the work still gets done, and I'm definitely a testament to that as well. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for the people that work at the Cannabis Control Commission.
Yeah, and I'd like to say too that I don't do any drugs or anything, but I've become, quite friendly with the grower down here in Adams. I visit him quite frequently, and he's got a first-class operation there, and he's put a lot of money into, before he opened. All the employees, I go down there, really fond of him because he treats them right. And it's been I think, a boom for the community as whole, but I worry about a saturation point, just like with alcohol. You get too many things in one place, so geographically, it's important that you look at it, and we have one pot shop, I call it, and, it's something that I think a lot of people are looking at. Now, also, New York has just legalized marijuana. So, and that's going to take a little business away from northern Berkshire County people, because a lot of people come down, just over the line and pick up their needs, and away they go. And lastly, I'd like to say is that I strongly believe in cannabis for medical reasons. I know people that use it, the gummies for sleep problems, people that have multiple sclerosis, I know. So I think there's something really good with that, and it's a natural type of stuff. And you get away from the pharmaceutical companies who are pushing and pushing. So I'll wait and see and make my decision when you have more concrete information, I think, and thanks for coming forward.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I think it's serendipitous that, maybe I'm on the agenda tonight, because we have, 17 establishments, I guess, that are licensed to sell alcohol in the town of Adams, right? And there was also discussion of the Purdue family settlement from the predatory, opioid crisis that, my generation definitely lived through. And that's where cannabis, for me, it's always been harm reduction, and that's where, a social consumption establishment would give a spot for, many folks to consume, something that at the end of the day, I think is maybe arguably easier on the body than some other substances that are a little more readily accepted. But on this note too, there are some changes from the CCC when it comes to negotiating these host community agreements, when it comes to municipal equity regulations as well. I'm happy to take some of this behind the scenes, and I know Bree, Eamon and I have already discussed it a bit as well. Truly, it would make my life a little easier, and I'd maybe rest a little easier signing a contract on one of these properties if I did have that host community agreement. And whether it is just for micro business to start, and then maybe we could discuss social consumption down the line. I'm also here to come to as many of these meetings as you'd like, and there will be that community outreach meeting as well before I would get operational. So again, hopefully that's the short version, and maybe we'll all get out of here, but if anyone else has any questions,
Nope.
No?
You answered my question.
Okay. Okay, and there was no action for the board to take. It was really, as you mentioned, a meet and greet and an introduction to who Dan is and why you're looking at Adam. So thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, and I will happily come back as many times as you need, okay? But
Great,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Now we'll turn things back over to John.
And I believe all that is left to be done is to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is that true?
Sorry to call our attention all the way back to item A, and perhaps this is my mistake, but I believe we stated that we wanted to table the matter, but I don't think we did an official motion, second, and vote. And if we did, please forgive me, I failed to get it down. I just want to make sure that that was,
Yeah, we didn't.
We did.
just tabled it.
I think you need a motion and a second to table.
I'll make a motion to table the contract for Mr. Kenneth Walto, interim town administrator.
I apologize.
Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,